Hey guys, this is just a quick rundown of my studio. Try not to make this video too long. We'll start up on top of the desk. This is the Ableton Push 2. I used to use a Machine Mark II before, and then I switched over to this controller. This pretty much controls everything within Ableton. So I do all my sample chops on here, as well as my drum programming, and you can do a lot of other things on here. Really glad I made the switch to use a dedicated controller for Ableton. This is a newer toy. This is the DJ Tech Tools MIDI Fighter Twister. So these are basically pushable encoders. So they're buttons as well as knobs, and you can pretty much MIDI map anything you want to these encoders. And I mainly use it for live sets to kind of trigger effects as well as adjust parameters within those effects. But yeah, cool little toy. This is the PreSonus monitor station version 2. This basically just controls my monitors, so you can have 3 speakers hooked up to this, as well as it has 3 inputs. And it has a talkback feature and a dim and a mute and a mono switch, which is pretty convenient, and some line outputs. Then this is the Alesis Q25. It's just like a simple MIDI 25 key MIDI controller that I can keep on top of the desk. It doesn't take up too much space, as well as I can hook this up to my iPad and control synths off my iPad, which is pretty cool. Then this is the Korg Monolog. It's a mono synth, analog synth. And I mainly use it for like bass lines as well as kind of like lead synths to put on top of beats and stuff like that. It's kind of like the sibling to the Korg Minilog. It's just a little shorter, and it's a mono synth instead of poly. Then that's just like a simple audio mixer that I plug in everything, like my synths as well as my DJ equipment, just kind of gets routed through there. And then just some rack gear, like a tube compressors and some multi-effects processors, patch bay. I use the Motu 828 Mark II as my audio interface. It's connected to my computer via Firewire. And then the monitors I use is a Samsung Resolve 5-inch monitor. It has a ribbon-style tweeter, I guess for ear fatigue. And then I have my old Rocket 8-inch monitors. Those are the first generation ones. And then just like a cheapo mic and a cheapo mic tube mic pre. Then I have some instruments here, a couple acoustic guitars, acoustic electric, bass guitar, electric guitar. I'm not like a guitarist or a musician. I just kind of use it to sprinkle on top of my production. I know how to play like chords and a few other things. Then over here is it's a MIDI controller. This is a CME UF5. I've had it for a really long time, but it has semi-weighted keys, so it doesn't feel cheap. And if you can see kind of like the interface, the knobs and the switches and everything, the buttons, kind of looks like a Yamaha motif. It's because CME was actually manufactured and distributed by Yamaha. That's why it's pretty similar. But I've had it for a really long time. Just above that is the Novation Mini Nova synthesizer. And it's a cool little synth. It's pretty small. And it kind of looks like a Korg or a micro Korg, if you're familiar with the micro Korgs. If you're familiar with the micro Korgs, like I had back in the day, they were really difficult to navigate. This is kind of like an updated version of that, even though it's a different company. It's a lot easier to navigate with this LCD screen, and then you can do a whole bunch of different things with this. Has a vocoder with a little mic right there. I like using the vocoder on this. I also like using this for like strings and like pads. I think it's really good, as well as the arpeggiator is pretty cool on that too. Have a little kalimba there, and I have a real snare right here that I mic up sometimes, and some flutes down there. This is my computer actually. This is I actually built a PC from the ground up, and then what I did was I gutted out a G5 Mac Pro tower, pretty much. So I gutted out this case, and then I retrofitted all my PC components inside this case. So the computer acts as like a Hackintosh slash Windows computer. So I have an SSD in there running the Mac side, which is all my music programs like Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools, Reason, and a few other ones. And then Windows side, which I use for an old program called Sony Acid Pro. That's what I kind of first started making beats on a long time ago. But occasionally I'll have to revisit sequences and track stuff out. And I also use the Windows side for like gaming, so like a lot of first-person shooters as well as some adventure games and some sports games on there. Not a heavy gamer, but I like playing. So I have a decent graphics card in there, and I have an overclocked processor, Intel. This is just a couple of network drives that I use, and I use those when I am away. I can store all my files on there and then access them when I'm not in front of the computer. This is the Alesis Sample Pad Pro, and this is fairly new, but this is it's basically a MIDI controller that I use to control VSTs on my computer. So I use the Addictive Drums 1 and 2 with this and just kind of play around with drum sounds. You can pretty much control any kind of VST instrument with this. It also has onboard sounds and kits, but I never use them. This is kind of like a good alternative if you can't maybe afford an actual drum set, or if you don't have space for an actual drum set. It's a good alternative, as well as like say if you live in an apartment complex or something like that and you can't really make that much noise, this is a good thing to have. But yeah, it's a really cool unit to play with. Then I have some tambourines here. It's another cheapo mic up there. It's a little controller that I use with Tractor. But when I DJ out, I mainly use Serato. This is Technics 1200. And then I have this DJ Tech DIF 1M that I've had for a while. It's a decent mixer. It has a mini innovator built in. I kind of don't like the cut on this one, on this mixer, but I mean, it's decent for scratching. It has like these MIDI buttons that you can map to like Serato or Tractor or whatever you're using. Then I have a Vestex turntable, it's PDX 2000, which you can pitch down ultra slow, which is good for kind of scratching. But this is my favorite mixer to scratch on. This is my old Vestex 06 Pro, and I soldered in a mini innovator on this one, and the cut on this one is way better on here than it is on here. For some reason, there's like a lag on this one, but on this one, it's my favorite mixer to cut on. Then over here, this is just pretty much all the record shelf right there. It's mainly like jazz and hip hop and soul music for the most part, some library records, and then some of my stuff that I've been a part of and released. We just released this one in October of last year. It's called Trouvaille. It's a collection of 20 instrumentals that I've produced, and we teamed up with HHV on that one. Really cool. And it's vinyl only right now. We're kind of working on getting it on digital. But yeah, that's just my my studio. Don't get me wrong, none of this stuff companies have sent for free review or sponsorship or anything. Like, all this stuff has been paid out of my own pocket, or just been hand-me-downs from friends or like acquaintances and stuff like that. This is kind of like a culmination of a collection of equipment that that I've been collecting for like the past like 10 to 20 years. I used to be when I first started, I used to be a bedroom DJ, just kind of working in the small corner of my room, just trying to make beats. And then this is kind of what it's become. But you don't need all this stuff to make incredible music. I've seen studios where it's just somebody who works on their laptop in their bedroom, and the stuff coming out of it is absolutely incredible. And I've seen the vice versa of that, where it's an incredible studio with top-notch gear, but the music coming out of it is kind of not that great. So don't think you need all of this stuff to make incredible music. But I've had MPCs back in the day, MPC 2000, 2000 XL. I've had a Dr. Sample, and some, I played on like ASR 10s back in the day, and and SPs back in the day. But you know, like, I'm not a gear hoarder, meaning like I'm not the type of person that keeps gear just for the sake of keeping it and just kind of hoarding all this stuff. If there is a piece of gear that I feel I'm not using, I'll sell it or I'll trade it for something that I want to use. And you know, yeah, you know, I feel like other people can benefit from the gear that I'm not using more than I can and make incredible music out of it. But yeah, that was just a rundown of my studio. I'm going to NAMM next week, so the next video will be up probably next weekend or the week just after the weekend. And hopefully I can show you what NAMM has to offer for the next season of gear and stuff like that. It'll be my first time at NAMM, so it should be pretty fun. But thanks again for tuning in. More videos on the way, better content. Let's do it.